We're reading A Course in Miracles. We're on chapter 15, the Holy Instant, and this section today is section 6, the Holy Instant and the Laws of God. It is impossible to use one relationship at the expense of another and not to suffer guilt. And it is equally impossible to condemn part of a relationship and find peace within it. Under the Holy Spirit's teaching, all relationships are seen as total commitments, yet they do not conflict with one another in any way. Perfect faith in each one, for its ability to satisfy you completely, arises only from perfect faith in yourself. And this you cannot have while guilt remains. And there will be guilt as long as you accept the possibility and cherish it that you can make a brother into what he is not because you would have him so. You have so little faith in yourself because you are unwilling to accept the fact that perfect love is in you. And so you seek without love for what you cannot find without. And so you seek without for what you cannot find without. I offer you my perfect faith in you in place of all your doubts. But forget not that my faith must be as perfect in all your brothers as it is in you, or it would be a limited gift to you. In the Holy Instant, we share our faith in God's Son because we recognize together that he is wholly worthy of it, and in our appreciation of his worth, we cannot doubt his holiness, and so we love him. All separation vanishes as holiness is shared, for holiness is power, and by sharing it, it gains in strength. If you seek for satisfaction in gratifying your needs as you perceive them, you must believe that strength comes from another, and what you gain, he loses. Someone must always lose if you perceive yourself as weak. Yet there is another interpretation of relationships that transcends the concept of loss of power completely. You do not find it difficult to believe that when another calls on God for love, your call remains as strong. Nor do you think that when God answers him, your hope of answer is diminished. On the contrary, you are more inclined to regard his success as witness to the possibility of yours. That is because you recognize, however dimly, that God is an idea, and so your faith in him is strengthened by sharing. What you find difficult to accept is the fact that, like your Father, you are an idea. And like him, you can give yourself completely, wholly without loss and only with gain. Herein lies peace, for here there is no conflict. In the world of scarcity, love has no meaning and peace is impossible. For gain and loss are both accepted, and so no one is aware that perfect love is in him. In the Holy Instant, you recognize the idea of love in you and unite this idea with the mind that thought it and could not relinquish it. By holding it within itself, there is no loss. The Holy Instant thus becomes a lesson in how to hold all your brothers in your mind, experiencing not loss, but completion. From this it follows you can only give. And this is love, for this alone is natural under the laws of God. In the Holy Instant, the laws of God prevail, and only they have meaning. The laws of this world cease to hold any meaning at all. When the Son of God accepts the laws of God as what he gladly wills, it is impossible that he be bound or limited in any way. In that instant, he is as free as God would have him be. For the instant he refuses to be bound, he is not bound. In the Holy Instant, nothing happens that has not always been. Only the veil that has been drawn across reality is lifted. Nothing has changed. Yet, the awareness of changelessness comes swiftly as the veil of time is pushed aside. No one who has not yet experienced the lifting of the veil and felt himself drawn irresistibly into the light behind it can have faith in love without fear. Yet the Holy Spirit gives you this faith because he offered it to me and I accepted it. Fear not, the Holy Instant will be denied you, for I denied it not. And through me the Holy Spirit gives it unto you, as you will give it. Let no need you perceive obscure your need of this. For in the Holy Instant you will recognize the only need the sons of God share equally, And by this recognition, you will join with me in offering what is needed. It is through us that peace will come. Join me in the idea of peace, for in ideas minds can communicate. If you would give yourself as your Father gives his self, you will learn to understand selfhood. And therein is love's meaning understood. But remember that understanding is of the mind and only of the mind. Knowledge is therefore of the mind, and its conditions are in the mind with it. If you were not an idea and nothing but an idea, you could not be in full communication with all that ever was. Yet as long as you prefer to be something else, or would attempt to be nothing else and something else together, you will not remember the language of communication which you know perfectly. In the holy instant, God is remembered, and the language of communication with all your brothers is remembered with him. For communication is remembered together, as is truth. There is no exclusion in the holy instant because the past is gone, and with it goes the whole basis for exclusion. Without its source, exclusion vanishes. And this permits your source and that of all your brothers to replace it in your awareness. God and the power of God will take their rightful place in you, and you will experience the full communication of ideas with ideas. Through your ability to do this, you will learn what you must be, for you will begin to understand what your Creator is and what his creation is along with him. Okay. The holy instant and the laws of God. It's a lot here. There's a lot we could go over. You have so little faith in yourself because you are unwilling to accept the fact that perfect love is in you. And so you seek without for what you cannot find without. Okay, this is something that is stated again and again, right? We're looking for love in all, we're looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love in all the wrong faces. Jesus wants to help us get out of the illusion. We can't find love outside of ourselves. Love is in our mind. Peace is in our mind. Even everything else really is in our mind as well. Everything is an idea. And the only idea that is really true is love. You can add all the other ideas that go along with love: peace, joy, fulfillment. All the qualities that might, but God as love. Jesus is saying here, God as love is an idea. Ideas are strengthened by sharing them, and an idea can never be diminished in any way, right? You can share it as much as you want, and it's still the same idea. Right? And we also, Jesus is saying, he's trying to make clear here that we are also an idea. There's no way that we can lose. There's no way that we can lose ourself. Right? Love is indestructible. It's invulnerable. Jesus uses that word a lot. Love is invulnerable. Cannot be attacked, cannot be destroyed. The ego cannot prevail against it. I think Jesus somewhere in the gospel says that Satan cannot prevail, right? But Jesus in the Course says the ego will not prevail, right? The Satan is not a reality. On some, in dreams and nightmares, it might have some limited reality, right? But the only thing that we need to really focus on is the ego. And the ego is basically this mistaken idea, this tiny mad idea, right? Tiny mad idea in the mind of God. What would it be like to be separate? And it's not an idea that has any basis. It's a false premise. It's a mistaken identity. And so the only idea that we need to consider and hold on to is the idea of love. And the love is the only thing that can be shared. And in sharing it, it grows in power, right? In sharing it, we find the witnesses to that sharing, and it grows. Jesus in the Gospels said, when two or more are gathered in my name, I am there, right? It's definitely in Matthew. I don't know if it's in, I think it's in Mark, and I'm pretty sure it's in Luke. It's one of the most quoted sayings, of Jesus, when two or more are gathered in my name. 2 or 3, I think he says. 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. But in the Course, Jesus means, when it's you and your brother, when you share the love with your brother or your sister or any other mother, father, friend, acquaintance, stranger, when you share that with anyone, it strengthens. Love is strengthened. And when you share the ego, that is strengthened, right? And everyone is brought down. But when you share love, that uplifts and that brings everyone up, including yourself, right? Until you get to the idea, until you realize that perfect love, that you are perfect love. Not just that perfect love is in you, as Jesus says here, but that you are perfect love and you are nothing else, right? The body is only there. Our bodies are only here to share love and to remember that we are the love. And when we do remember that, when we fully realize that, when we fully remember that, then we no longer need the world or the body anymore. That's one of the points here, is that the ego uses the body as a way to hide from the truth, to hide from God. The Holy Spirit, though, sees the body as, yes, it's something the ego made, but the Holy Spirit reinterprets the body to be a communication device, a way to communicate love. And in communicating love, the remembrance of love comes until the point where it's recognized that you no longer need a body, because you have no need for a body, because the body was made to hide. The body was made as a way of hiding from the truth, out of fear, right? Here's another thing. In the holy instant, nothing happens that has not always been. Only the veil that has been drawn across reality is lifted. Jesus talks a lot about the veil, right? The Hindus called it the veil of Maya, the veil of illusion. As I understand it, it's the same thing, right? Jesus is really just talking about the veil, the clouds of the ego. When the veil is lifted, what is left? It's not that you are no more, but you're still there. What is left? Everything except the ego. The ego is gone, right? The veil that was in the way dissolves. It just falls away. Nothing has changed. Yet the awareness of changelessness comes swiftly as the veil of time is pushed aside. No one who has not yet experienced the lifting of the veil and felt himself drawn irresistibly into the light behind it can have faith and love without fear. Let's read that again. No one who has not yet experienced the lifting of the veil and felt himself drawn irresistibly into the light behind it can have faith and love without fear. So, again, Jesus is pointing to that experience. And this is another way of understanding the holy instant, right? The holy instant is this experience of the reality of love and the unreality of fear. The fear in the light of love, fear is no more. The darkness is dispelled. And Jesus is saying that until you have that experience, you can't really understand, you can't fully understand what it is. We're still going to have fear. But he goes on to say, yet the Holy Spirit gives you this faith because he offered it to me and I accepted it. Fear not, the holy instant will be denied you, for I denied it not. And through me, the Holy Spirit gives it unto you as you will give it. So Jesus is offering this faith that comes through the Holy Spirit, which is, Jesus is identified completely with the Holy Spirit. So it's really does not, in a way, whether you say the Holy Spirit or whether you say Jesus, it's the same thing. But it's also, there are nuances that need to be taken into account here. Yet the Holy Spirit gives you this faith because he offered it to me and I accepted it. Fear not, the holy instant will be not denied you, for I denied it not. So Jesus accepted the holy instant himself. And because he accepted it, he can offer it to us without any reservation, without any doubt. He can offer us what it is. He can explain to us what this is. And through me, the Holy Spirit gives it unto you as you will give it. Let no need you perceive obscure your need of this. For in the holy instant you will recognize the only need the sons of God share equally. And by this recognition, you will join with me in offering what is needed. So you will realize when you have this experience of the holy instant, you will realize that this is what everyone needs, that this is the only thing that everyone really truly needs, right? We're all the sons of God. Jesus here uses the plural, the sons of God. Sometimes he uses the singular, he says the Son of God. In reality, it's both and it's neither, because in reality, we're all one with God. So the difference between the Son, God and God's Son doesn't make a difference in reality. But from where we are on the other side of the veil, it is helpful to talk about the Son of God as distinct from the Father. It's helpful to talk also about the sons of God because we are all separate on this side of the veil. I think it's just important to point out again that we are all the one Son of God, right? In the Gospels, Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. But he gives his true disciples the power. And we could look at the Gospels because there are places in the Gospels where Jesus suggests that he's giving his power to his true disciples. And if you really look at what Jesus is saying in the Gospels, he sets the bar very high for discipleship. To be a true Christian is a very high calling. And it has been pointed out that most fall short of that. Someone once said, I think it was I forget his name now. George Bernard Shaw, I think, said, the last true Christian died on the cross. Because Jesus set the bar so high, right? Now, in the Course, though, Jesus is making it much easier in many ways by saying, all you need is that openness. All you need is that little willingness to see as he is seeing, to follow and practice what he's suggesting. That's all you need. All the other things are not really important. It's just being open to love, being open to unconditional love. That's all you really need. Everything else is going to come. I think that's it for right now. We'll come back. The next section is called the needless sacrifice. the plot will continue to thicken, and the pot of soup will continue to thicken, and we will drink merrily next time. See you soon. Om.